Kia ora everybody, my name's Tom Augustine. Welcome to Point of View, your monthly podcast for everything coming out in Aotearoa on screen, whether that's in the cinemas or on television or on your laptop or anywhere else where you get your viewing material. Today we've got a really, really great episode for you. We're talking to Kath Akuhata-Brown, who's a emerging filmmaker here in New Zealand. She's directed a really lovely film called Kōkā, and that comes out in June as well. I got the chance to sit down with her here in the office and talk about her journey to making that film. So please stay tuned. Kath Akuhata-Brown is the writer and director of Kōkā. This is her feature film debut. You also directed a really, really great short film, one of my favorite short films of the last few years, Wash Day, which I really, really enjoyed as well. I just wanted to drop that in there before we get started. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Today, get to me atu kia koe, Tom. Thank you for that lovely introduction. Watch Day short films, features.
Yeah.
You know what it takes.
The journey, yeah, 100%. And it looks like, I mean, you feel it on the screen watching this film that it feels like it was a journey, both in terms of getting it made, but also potentially a spiritual one as well.
Kōkā, yes. Kōkā's upon first glance, seems to be a road trip to women.
Yeah.
When you spend a bit more time with it, you realise that no, there's something else going on here. And inevitably it becomes a story of wairua and presence and connection with land and water. And beneath all of that is kind of, I was working with the idea that the barrier, the veil, 𝗞𝘁𝗵 does not really exist. And that our old people, our ancestors, walk with us.
Totally, and you can feel that from that really beautiful open scene, and there's some beautiful kind of, not fantasy, more like spirit world sequences that are kind of interlaced throughout the film.
Yeah.
So it's a general shape of a road trip movie, but it is more about this kind of relationship between the two generations.
Yeah, when we were talking about, log lines. Oh, I hate them.
So do I.
And taglines.
100%.
And when we were talking about it, I mean, we ended up with this one with, Find Your Way Home. But I really wanted them to use the log line Kōkā, the mother of all road trips. Because Kōkā means mother,
Yeah, right, gotcha.
Anyway.
Oh, I think both of them are pretty good. The mother of all road trips, I like that. So you've got this fantastic cast. I mean, 𝗫𝗫𝗄 𝗫𝗫, I don't know if I've seen her in much before, but she just really brought it here. Really an incredible presence on screen. And then you've also got Darneen Christian, who is just burning up the screen in this film. Just
oh my God,
Darneen
is spectacular. There were moments on set when even I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I couldn't quite believe what you were seeing, kind of deal. So what was your process in finding these people? Were these the people who are always going to have these roles?
𝗫𝗫𝗄 was always going to have that role. But 𝗫𝗫𝗄 worked on in some short films, one of which I produced. I was a producer on, called 𝗫𝗫𝗄. In 𝗫𝗫𝗄, directed and written by Bex Arahanga. The cast was primarily young Māori women, between 18 and 23. And 𝗫𝗫𝗄 was the oldest amongst them. The thing was, there was one point there when I looked over and she was just standing looking grumpy. So I walked over and said, what's happening? She goes, those young girls have fallen out of the kaupapa and now they'll never get back into it because they were off set playing and they're just hanging out doing their thing. And in that moment, I remembered who she was. She comes from a generation that once they commit to a kaupapa, they don't stop until it's over. And I remembered her mother, who was an auntie of mine, and who taught me kapaka, and how fierce she was, and the whānau line that she comes from, her uncle won an Ngāti won VC. So I looked in that moment and I thought, you're going to be my Hamo for the film because I don't like aging actors. It never looks right.
No, it doesn't.
No. And B, she could sustain it. So it has to, in that moment, 5 years before we got funded to shoot it.
Wow. And it's interesting because, that thing you said about committing to kaupapa and following it through to the end, that's kind of the journey she takes in this film. And it's that kind of very beautiful marriage of those two things, like what's happening off screen and what's happening on screen. Her commitment to...
she was so impressive. Her mentorship of Darlene, her relationship with 𝗕𝗂𝗵, and all the other actors and throughout the film. She liked the name of the film, nurtured, nourished, and carried them, all these actors, through the whole process.
Beautiful. And so Darlene, where did you kind of land with her?
Oh my God, I looked at 300 auditions.
My goodness.
And it's not that they were bad, it's they weren't Joe.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh my God, I don't know what to do. She's not here. And I rang up one of my friends who just made a film, and I said, what do I do? He said, keep looking.
Yeah. There's always out there, right?
And one of the team on our film, she said, have you seen Darlene? I was like, oh, no, who's that? What's she been in? She said, here. It showed me her in Deadlands. I was like, oh my God, bring her in. And she came in, auditioned in, which was perfect for her.
Yeah, and it's very transformative because, looking at photos of her from the premiere and stuff, she's very put together, she's very elegant, and then this character is so much more rugged and kind of, she's gone through so many trials and so many tribulations. And
oh my God,
she wears it,
More than that, Darlene is so shy. She's very shy, which is the opposite of this character.
Yeah, 100%.
𝗕𝗂𝗵, I think, we got together after the Māori land screening, myself, 𝗕𝗂𝗵 and Hinetu, and the producers, and we decided that 𝗕𝗂𝗵 would help Darlene because she's so shy in public.
Yeah.
So, and those two had a relationship when they were doing Deadlands.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's a wonderful presence here as well.
I love him.
Yeah, as soon as he walks on screen, it's really lovely to see him, It's lovely to see his presence in the film.
It was important to me to have an actor who was Ngāti Porou.
Yeah.
Not because, only Ngāti Porou exists in the landscape, not because of that, but because the real and the whakapapa and the connections, and I needed to make sure that our male character could carry it as well as our wahine character.
Totally. So the film premiered at Māori Land, where it won the People's Choice Award. Now it's off to Imaginative as well, which is a pretty major achievement. So how does it feel now that this film's out in the world and it's being kind of embraced in this way in some of these major festivals?
Oh my God. I'm exhausted at the idea of it, and I don't mean to sound ungrateful, because what I mean by that is it's a film that needs to travel, that will go wherever she needs to go.
Yeah.
And that means that I could have spent hours and hours in a small container flying through space.
Yeah. Good times.
Good times. When I was in my 30s, when I first wrote this film, I thought, it's perfect, I can do all that. I'm in my 50s now, I'm a goddamn grandmother.
Really? Are you an in-flight movies person?
I try to be.
Yeah.
I try to do work. I try all of that, but I'm useless.
Yeah.
I just end up staring into space.
Yeah, I know. It's a very strange experience, those long haul flights.
No, look, I don't want to sound ungrateful. Imaginative is an amazing festival. Like, I've been there almost every other year for the last 25 years.
Yeah, right.
I was part of a series that won at First Imaginative. And I've worked on and off with those guys and different board members over the years. And I'm grateful. And one of the things that we all really worked hard for was to tell stories for us and to be launched at these festivals, in that everyone just makes films that they could show them at Cannes or Venice. And like, come on, guys, make one for us. And
for the people, right?
And I remember standing up going, I'll do it.
Well, you have now. That's great. No, but I can imagine it's also, when you watch this film and you can feel so much of you on the screen, it feels like it's a very personal story and it feels like you're outpouring something in the making of the film. So I can imagine anything to do with traveling it to people who are watching it for the first time must be quite draining as well.
Yeah, it's that.
It's rewarding, but draining at the same time.
Yeah.
So I understand you're wearing this very beautiful taonga on your head.
We had two made.
Yeah.
For the film. And our producer, Libby Hakarai, got in touch with the artist carver from Te Waiponami from Kaitahu, and he selected a rock. The thing is, this is two types of pounamu and one stone.
Right.
And so he brought both of them, put them on, actually hopped on the plane and brought them to Wellington. We had one off set and one on set. And she became the key taonga in the film that Hineitu wears. I've named her Kokoho, and Kokoho is Hamo's last name in the film. And it's a gentle wind. It's a wind that comes from the East Coast. So, and the other one has gone to Verity, our producer.
Right, yeah. Well, it's good that they're in good hands. What a precious kind of reminder of this experience.
I took this one with me to the premiere last night because I thought, well, this is as much Kokoho's premiere as it is mine. So 100%. I know. I'm sorry, it sounds so waffly.
It's not waffle at all. Don't worry. No, I'm completely hanging on with every word. It's a really beautiful, and I think it speaks to like the amount of effort and hard work that people will do for a film that they really care about, flying something up, making something so beautiful and so precious that, you see in the film, but it's not like a major presence. Like, it's not like the major focus of the film, but it's just something that is being carried through the film.
When you're making something that it's in the detail, our crew, and a lot of them were there last night, and I had the opportunity to thank them properly. The detail that they put into things, like there's a scene of a little girl in the bedroom and the wallpaper. Yeah. And the wallpaper becomes a story point, and the guys who worked on it, that was Sven, our production designer. He came to me and he goes, Kath, the wallpaper, do you think we can make it the curtain instead? Because she's going to this window and the wind is going to blow. And I said, no, Sven. It has to be the wallpaper. So those sorts of details, the music box, originally was a ballerina, and now the character inside the music box, it is an echo of one of the characters from the Caravan Park. The costume, the cloak. My niece in Gisborne wove that cloak and then sent it to our costume designer, Estelle Stroud. And while we were doing prep for the film, we went to a falconry, we brought feathers back. Wow. And Estelle put the feathers into patterns that she'd done all her research onto that cloak.
Amazing.
In Hamo's costume is an echo of a lindau. So when she's on the river, it's like the lindau painting.
Yeah, right.
But not to emulate it, but to echo it.
Yeah.
Because we wanted to start deconstructing the perspectives of people and how they see us.
Yes, 100%. Well, I think, it's incredible the level of detail, and I think it comes back to something that I've observed in many, many films made by Māori, is this kind of fact that, like, when one person is putting forward their vision, everyone else gathers in and just presents the best of themselves and creates these incredible things that really add to the feeling of the film. It all adds to this kind of aura that's coming off the images on the screen. It's really powerful.
Case with everyone.
Yeah, I do. I think it is the case with everyone, but it does feel very specific because it's channeling something to do with the culture, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot. Being a Māori filmmaker is a huge responsibility because it's not just, you're not just responsible to your story, you're responsible to the knowledge and how the knowledge is passed through and the holders of that knowledge. So it's whakapapa.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And what that means is it's not about getting every detail right. It's about intention.
Yeah.
And I feel like what you're identifying is the intention, the aroha, you know. I might be wrong. I don't know. I might be wrong. But I know that, I mean, we messed up along the way, but the intention didn't shift.
Yeah.
And the beautiful elements that came together, as well as you get it right, you set up a space, and way to enters the frame. And that's really what I aim for.
That's what I mean. You feel that coming into the screen. It's very, very beautiful. There's something very powerful about the way that you depict this intergenerational relationship in film, the way you know the older characters are passing on ideas and power to the younger characters. Was that something that was very present in mind when you were trying to make the film, writing the film?
And you know, as a writer yourself, you can only write what you know. And when I was growing up, you know, I didn't know at the time, but I was given a tiny piece of a story that was much bigger by my father, by all my aunties and old people, only later on in life to realise that was actually deliberate and that I had to go find it myself. But it's the way they communicated it that I was really interested in, because it's not communicating, you know, instructions. It's a communication of memory, I guess. Memory and emotion. And then they send you on a big lifelong journey.
Yeah, totally. And I think it's very present in the film, the way that it's like you get the sense that Dani's character doesn't even kind of register that she's receiving all this stuff until much later in the film, but she's receiving it all the way through. She's receiving these teachings.
Couple of things happened when I was younger in the 90s. I worked on a documentary about people who live in caravan parks. Supposed to be a documentary about the lifestyle, turned into a documentary on poverty and exploitation and the showing of it in this, you know. And then later on, one of the men that I was working with, Ernie Leonard, passed away. And this young guy turned up at his tangi, and he lived under the Grafton Bridge.
Wow.
He'd been reading the newspaper to see who died, and then he'd turn up at their tangi to have something warm. No one questioned anyone who turned up at a tangi, get some food. His name was Joe. And I remember when I met him thinking, because he was so full on, I remember thinking, one day you're going to go to a tangi and it's not going to end well for you. 3 years later, he was found dead in the side of the road. And I don't know if there was a tangi up the road. There might have been, there might not have been, but all I know is that was the direction that he was heading towards.
Yeah.
So Joe, in our film, in my film, is kind of a nod to him.
Yeah, right. Oh, wow. I mean,
In that life, yeah.
well, I meant to ask about the trailer park because it's so vivid in the film. The way you've rendered it is so, and it's clear that it's coming from something that you've seen or experienced or noticed in the park. It's such a powerful space in the film.
The owner of that caravan park, who was in the documentary, was a terrible human being who used to read people's mail and use the information, because usually it was like whatever WINS was back then, use that information to pretty much blackmail these people.
And Joel Tobic plays that character.
And Joel Tobic plays
does very well. He's very, very slimy, very odious.
Joel is so great. He's such a nice man.
Fantastic. So now the film is heading out into the world. Is there anything particular that you're wishing for this film that you're hoping people glean from the film?
There's a lot inside the film, and everybody will go to it and come away with something different. So I can't really say, I want them to come away with that. I just want people to enjoy it.
Yeah.
We worked on making sure, and when I say we, I mean Ali Lieberman, who did the score. Ali and I worked really hard on making sure that the credit song, which we awarded, made people feel total or noir after watching the film. That was a way to a journey, And so I want people to come away feeling safe as well.
Totally, yeah. I mean, the music is such a big part of this film. It carries the film. It's beautiful.
Lieberman is awesome.
Yeah, wonderful. Keep that name on your mind as you're watching the film. It's a very, very powerful one. So thank you so much for being here. I really, really hope people get out and check this film out. I'm really stoked to see that it's started a journey which is hopefully going to take it across the world. Congratulations. What a debut. Well done. Thank you,
Tom. Really appreciate it. And good luck with your film.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, we'll see how that turns out.
I can't wait to see it. I'll come along.
Absolutely. We'll get an invite out to you. Appreciate it.
Cool.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Okay.
We're headed into the summer blockbuster season in America, which means that we're getting our hands on a lot of really, really great stuff, basically from this month onward. There's a whole lot of really, really good stuff to dig into, so let's get started. So on the 12th, we have Materialists. Now, this is a new romantic comedy, well, more of a romance kind of in the broadcast news kind of mold. It comes to us from the director of Past Lives, and that was a really, really lovely film as well. This one's got a great cast: Dakota Johnson, Chris Evans, and Pedro Pascal playing a kind of love triangle. And the trailers kind of suggest a kind of Woody Allen, New York kind of style romance, but actually more in the line of something like James L. Brooks. Really, really excited for that one. Now, one of the big films coming out this month is 28 Years Later. So this is the long-awaited sequel to 28 Days and 28 Weeks Later, two very, very scary films from the early 2000s about a zombie apocalypse happening in Britain. This one reunites the creatives of that series. So Danny Boyle is directing, Alex Garland wrote it, and if you've seen the trailers, you know that this looks proper scary. This was actually shot on an iPhone as well, which is carrying on the kind of tradition of those earlier films which were shot on new digital formats at the time. So it's really, really interesting looking film, but some of the imagery coming out of that is bloody scary. We also have Megan 2.0. So this is the sequel to the surprise hit from New Zealand's own Gerard Johnston. He also directed Homebound, which is a really, really great one as well. Megan 2.0 is about a killer android, and it looks like from the trailers they've gone in a kind of Terminator 2 direction here, where she's being brought back to life to face off against an even more dangerous kind of AI robot creation. It looks deeply silly, but also like a lot of fun, just like the original Megan. Formula One arrives on the 26th. Now, this one has Brad Pitt in it. It's directed by Top Gun Maverick's Joseph Kosinski. This one has the look of a big, kind of meaty, mature summer blockbuster. It's about a kind of washed-up race car driver who gets pulled into Formula One for one last chance at glory. It's got a really, really strong cast. Javier Bardem's in there. Kerry Condon, who you might have seen in The Banshees of Inisherin, is in there as well. And it just looks like some really, really great racing footage as well. So keep an eye out for that. July 3rd, we have Jurassic Park Rebirth. Actually, I think it's Jurassic World Rebirth. I lose track of the different Jurassics. But this brings Scarlett Johansson into the fold. And it actually, the last few Jurassic Parks have been pretty bad. But this one has some reasons for hope. Particularly, there's Mahershala Ali, who I think is a really, really great actor who doesn't get enough good roles. So here's hoping he gets something to do in this. It looks like a lot of fun. The Capital Cinema Film Club, which is the film club that me and my partner Amanda Jane Robinson run, we show rare and underseen gems from around the world every month. This month's selection is in line with the French Film Festival, which you should definitely go along and attend as well. The film we're showing is Robert Bresson's Diary of a Country Priest. Now, this is a really, really beautiful film from one of the great filmmakers, Robert Bresson, who was kind of known as something like a religious figure in cinema in the 20th century. This is one of his most beloved films. He has a very sparse, very simple style. He has a lot of rules that he kind of sets on himself in terms of the films that he makes, which are really worth looking into. This film was also a major inspiration for Paul Schrader's First Reformed, which for my money is probably the best film of the 21st century so far. We've also got on the 5th, Ballerina, which is Ana de Armas picking up the mantle of the John Wick franchise from Keanu Reeves, although who knows, maybe Keanu Reeves is coming back. This one looks like another kind of action in the mold of John Wick about a new deadly assassin. Chuck Chuck Baby, also out on the same day. Now, this was at the British and Irish Film Festival. This one's a kind of working class musical. It looks like a lot of fun. It kind of put me in the mind of something like Kinky Boots from back in the day. How to Train Your Dragon. Now, this was a really, really good animated film that turned into a very popular series. Now, for some reason, it's been adapted as a live action. Having seen the trailers, this seems like possibly the most pointless film of the year. I don't really know who it's for or why it's coming out, but for those of you who have kids that you want to entertain for a few hours, maybe it's worth going along to. It looks like a carbon copy of the original. So hopping on the bandwagon of live action reboots like this month's Lilo and Stitch. On the 12th, there's a film called Dangerous Animals coming out. Now, this one is kind of interesting to me. It's a Australian slasher horror, which is one of my favorite kind of subgenres of horror, which is the shark movie. And this one is about a crazy Australian who kidnaps people and feeds them to sharks and turns it into a kind of ritual. Is that Khan? It looks really, really kind of silly, but also a bit scary and tense. Jai Courtney, who is quite an interesting actor actually, who hasn't really kind of found his groove in general, is looking really good in this. He's kind of beefed up and he's kind of channeling some sort of Russell Crowe energy in this one. So I'm quite interested to see what he does with that. Elio on the 19th. Now, this is the latest from Pixar. Pixar's been on a bit of a downward slope recently. Let's see if this new one, which is an original concept, brings them back to the fore. We can only live in hope. Lastly, the 26th sees the arrival of Karate Kid Legends. Now, this brings in Ralph Macchio from the original Karate Kid, Jackie Chan from the remake, the underrated remake from 2010 or 2011, for a new Karate Kid story. So for those of you who are nostalgic for that series, this could be worth a look as well. It's a big month for streaming as well. There's a lot of original movies that are coming out exclusively to streaming, as well as the return of some major series. On the 1st, over on Neon, we have Mountainhead. Now, Mountainhead comes to us from Jesse Armstrong, who is the creator of Succession. This is his first project post-Succession. It's about 4 tech billionaires who get together at a mountain retreat. And it's got a really great cast. Steve Carell is the headliner. It looks kind of a lot more goofy and maybe a little bit more tossed off than something like Succession, which builds into this massive Greek tragedy. Remembering that Jesse Armstrong has a long history in shows like Peep Show before he turned to Succession. So this looks maybe more in line with that. It does look like a lot of fun, though. On the same day, over on AroVISION, is the arrival of the Haka Party incident. Now, this is one of the best films of last year. Definitely the best New Zealand film of last year. It is a really, really beautiful, really powerful story, which, for my money, should be watched by everyone in New Zealand. You can head over to AroVISION to check that out. And you can also watch our interview with Katie Wolf in a previous episode, who is the director of the Haka Party incident. Echo Valley is from the makers of Mayor of Easttown, which was a really, really solid, really well put together show from a few years back with Kate Winslet. This one has Julianne Moore, similarly one of our great actresses of that generation. She's uniting with Sydney Sweeney, who's kind of a real star on the rise, for a story that kind of seems similar to Mayor of Easttown. It's about a woman who hides the death of her daughter's husband after he's killed by her in a moment of abuse. It looks very, very interesting, very tense. And worth checking out for anyone who enjoyed Mayor of Easttown. That's also a recommend on Mayor of Easttown. Go and check it out if you haven't already. Love Me. Now, this is an interesting one. This one seems like it's maybe designed to come and go without many people watching it, because it didn't get a huge amount of great reviews. But it does have 2 very interesting performers. It has Kristen Stewart and Stephen Yeun, who are 2 really, really bright stars in the acting kind of firmament at the moment. In this film, they're playing a boy and a satellite. I don't really know what that means, but there's something like a romance, maybe a post-apocalyptic romance of some sort. There's some sort of science fiction element. Listen, it doesn't look great, but if you're a fan of either of these actors, it might be worth checking out. Now, 2 big titles that are arriving towards the end of this month. So we have The Bear Season 4. Now, for my money, The Bear Season 3 went off the rails pretty quickly and never quite found its groove again. This is a show that's always been pretty hit or miss, but in Season 2, largely they really found their groove. Can they pull it back for Season 4? I don't really know. We will see. There's plenty of reason to have hope, because the team involved, the performers, are really, really strong. And so we can only hope that they kind of right the train again. Squid Game 3 also arrives on the 27th for Netflix. Now, I really actually enjoyed Squid Game 2 at the end of last year. It was punchy, it was devastating, it was clever, and it was intense. Was it perfect? No, but there was a lot to suggest that Season 3 is going to be something quite interesting and quite powerful. So here's hoping they pull it off. I believe this is meant to be the final chapter, so let's see what happens there. On the 4th, there's a show called Stick, which has Owen Wilson. Always nice to see him. He's playing a golf mentor of some sort. Predator, Killer of Killers. Now, this is an animated series about the Predator universe, and tells the story of an actual predator on their home planet. Ocean with David Attenborough. Yes, David Attenborough is still doing his thing at 99, I believe he is. He is still out there looking out for our native wildlife, our natural world. And this show is premiering on Disney Plus. It is about the oceans. We Were Liars is the adaptation of a YA series, a really popular one. It has some really, really strong performers involved. It looks very soapy and twisty-turny, kind of on a Gossip Girl buzz. The Gilded Age returns on Neon, so this is coming out on the 23rd. One of the main reasons to watch this show, I think, is Carrie Coon, who we just saw really just light the screen up on The White Lotus. She's on a real roll at the moment, so get in with that if you haven't already. And on the 25th, we have Ironheart, which is the latest Disney Plus series now for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, we have had the indication that they're moving away from TV series in the Marvel world for a while. This is probably the last one, kind of the dregs of that kind of series focus. It is about someone picking up the mantle of War Machine. I don't know a huge amount about this one, but for people who are Marvel completists, I think this would be one to watch. For the rest of us, probably not. June, Tuesday nights at 8:30 p.m. your new appointment viewing on Rialto channel. We have the exclusive series, The Embers. This comes to us from France. It starts off with a very kind of, we've seen it before, this kind of small town murder mystery, and it builds into something a lot more interesting, a lot more twist-filled, darker than you might think. It's a very, very interesting series coming to us from France, so keep your eyes peeled for that. I will be reviewing that series at the beginning of June, so head on over to viewmag.co.nz to see that. Any more info that you want on the series, rialtochannel.co.nz is your place to go. That's all for today here at Point of View. Thank you so much for being with us. Every week we post a new review on viewmag.co.nz covering the latest movies coming out on the big screen or on streaming. We also have all sorts of really, really great giveaways for you, lots of different goodies for you guys to get your hands on. Head over to viewmag.co.nz/competitions to find out more. This month also the film Bring Her Back. It's by the Filippo brothers, who made the very scary Talk to Me. It's a new horror film. It is also very scary. It's very, very good. And I got the chance to sit down and chat with them for a few minutes at the end of May. It's a really, really great conversation. So go and check that out. Well worth your time. We'll see you next month for more movie action. Thank you so much for being with us. Ka kite.